Welcome everyone to AI Sports Predictor, where the truth cuts deeper than the sportsbook's edge. The Vegas Golden Knights ride into Buffalo with the swagger of a heavyweight champ who just knocked out their last opponent in the first round. A 4-0 shutout against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's not just a win, that's an execution. They didn't play hockey. They held a masterclass in dominance. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Sabres. They just took a beating so bad against Detroit that even their Zamboni needed therapy. 7-3. That wasn't just a loss, it was a public humiliation. The kind of game where you look at the scoreboard and question your life choices. Now, let's talk about the odds, because Vegas isn't just a team, they're a stock you wish you bought last season. They step onto the ice as heavy favorites at -186. Buffalo, meanwhile, sits at +154. Waiting for a miracle that might never come. The over-under, 6.5 goals. That's a number that might not stand a chance against Vegas' relentless offensive attack. Let's break it down. The Golden Knights have played the role of the favorite 34 times this season. They've walked away victorious 19 times, including 16 wins in 22 games when the money line was tighter than -186. The market is giving them a 65% chance to win, and quite frankly, that might be too low. In their last 10 games, Vegas is on a heater. 7 wins, 2 losses, 1 overtime point, 80% of the possible points claimed. And they're lighting the lamp at Wall, averaging 3.8 goals per game while holding opponents to a stingy 2.5. That's not just winning, that's dismantling teams brick by brick. Buffalo, different story. Their reality is 15 wins in 43 games as an underdog. And when the odds stretch beyond +154, they're sitting at 4-9. That's a 39.4% implied chance of winning, barely better than throwing a dart at a spinning wheel. Their last 10 games, 3 wins, 6 losses, 1 overtime point. They've surrendered 38 goals in that stretch, 3.8 per game, the exact number Vegas has been scoring. That's not an unfortunate coincidence. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Now, here's the moment of truth. You came for the pick, and we don't play games with fate. And today's AI pick is Vegas Golden Knights moneyline. The ice isn't level, it tilts in their favor. The numbers scream it, the sportsbook fears it, and now you know it. Until next time, keep your edge sharp and your bankroll sharper.
Welcome to AI Sports Predictor, where the odds don't just tell the story, we write it. The New Jersey Devils and the Pittsburgh Penguins step onto the ice, both riding 3-game winning streaks. But let's be real, only one of them is dictating their own fate. The Devils have a firm grip on a playoff push, while the Penguins, they're fighting for survival, clutching at anything that keeps them relevant. And that fight means one thing: goals. In their last 10 games, Pittsburgh has gone 4-5-1, scoring 28 goals while coughing up 34. That's a total of 62 goals in 10 games, an average of 6.2 per game. And yet, the over-under is set at 5.5. The books must think we're blind. Our AI model predicts a final score of Devils 4, Penguins 3-6 total goals. The sportsbook is trying to bait the under. We're not falling for it. Here's why this game screams over defensive nightmares. The Penguins' defense ranks 30th in the league in goals allowed, hemorrhaging 3.56 per game. That's not just bad, it's tragic. This is the kind of defense that makes goal horns work overtime. The Devils, though solid, have still had their shaky moments, and Pittsburgh will be pressing hard to keep their streak alive. Offensive rhythm: New Jersey is averaging 2.99 goals per game this season, and they're 35-5-3 when scoring more than 2 goals. Translation: if they crack 3, the Penguins only need 2 goals to push this over. And with Pittsburgh averaging 2.85 goals per game, that's not asking much. These two teams don't just trade goals, they exchange fire. Power play edge: both teams are top 10 in power play efficiency. The Devils sit at 27.32% fourth, while the Penguins hover at 24.19% ninth. Special teams will be a factor, and power play goals pad the over every time. This isn't just about even strength scoring, this is about teams that can turn a 2-minute minor into a momentum shift. Penguins' desperation mode: this is a team clawing for relevance, and when that happens, they don't sit back, they press forward. That aggressive playstyle means more rushes, more breakdowns, and most importantly, more scoring chances. They know their defense can't hold, so their only choice is to go all in. And all in means goals. Revenge factor. The last time these two teams faced off, it was a battle and both squads know what's on the line. We're talking playoff implications, contract years, and pride. This isn't just a game, it's a high-speed collision course. This isn't a defensive war. It's a shootout waiting to happen. And today's AI pick is over 5.5 goals. The sportsbook set the line low. We're here to punish them for it. They don't know yet, but they will. On to Game 3.
Two teams, one mission, survival. The New York Rangers and the Columbus Blue Jackets are locked in a battle for playoff positioning. And every point matters. This isn't just another game. This is a high-stakes showdown where desperation meets firepower. The Rangers step onto the ice at 32-28-6, sitting fifth in the Metropolitan Division. They're clawing for security in the playoff hunt, and they know reinforcements matter. That's why they added depth at the deadline. But depth doesn't mean much if you can't convert it into wins. Their latest outing? A roller coaster ride against the Minnesota Wild, where they saw their lead disappear twice before Braden Schneider bailed them out in overtime. Close calls like that don't just test a team's nerves, they reveal who's built for the fight. On the other side, the Blue Jackets sit at 31-26-8, currently gripping onto a wild card spot like it's a life raft. Their last game? A 4-0 beatdown at the hands of the Vegas Golden Knights, a game that exposed the cracks in their armor. A shutout loss isn't just a bad night, it's a warning sign. So what happens when two teams with everything to lose meet on the ice? Chaos. Offensive firepower. The Rangers average 3.0 goals per game, while the Blue Jackets fire back at 3.28 per game. Neither of these teams is playing it safe. They come in swinging, and the stats back it up. Goals will come. Question is, who lands the knockout punch? Defensive struggles. The Rangers might be 20th in the league in goals allowed. But that still looks elite compared to Columbus, who sits at 27th in the same category. If you think this game is going to be a defensive clinic, you're watching the wrong teams. Goaltending gambles. Igor Shesterkin is expected in net for New York. Sitting at 22-22-4 with a .906 save percentage, he's been solid lately, allowing 2 or fewer goals in 3 of his last 5 games. But across from him, Elvis Merzlikins, who boasts a 3.04 goals against average and a .896 save percentage. He's 1-4 in his last 5 starts. That's not just a cold streak, that's a red flag. Momentum swings. Both teams have just 1 win in their last 5 games. That means one of them is walking away from this game feeling a lot better about their postseason odds. Columbus has been the slightly better team, but the Rangers have the firepower to flip the script. This is a pure desperation play. The Malachi factor. This isn't a beauty contest. It's a street fight, and the team that wants it more is the team that wins. The Rangers are built for the playoffs, but the Blue Jackets? They're fighting for their lives, and that's a different kind of hunger. Desperate teams make dangerous teams, and dangerous teams cash tickets. And today's AI pick is Blue Jackets moneyline, plus 115. Names don't win games, fire does. And tonight, Columbus is the team bringing the flames. The sportsbook doesn't see it coming. But we do. On to Game 4.
Two titans of the Atlantic Division collide, and this one is personal. The Ottawa Senators, riding a 5-game win streak, roll into enemy territory to face the Toronto Maple Leafs, who hold the second-best record in the division. Playoff implications. Check. Bad blood. Absolutely. A game where every hit, every shot, and every save could determine the outcome. You better believe it. The Senators have battled their way to 35-25-5, holding on to the top wild-card spot. They aren't here by accident. Their defense has been rock solid, giving up just 2.82 goals per game and shutting down opponents with only 6 goals allowed in their last 3 matchups. When the offense struggles, the back end holds the line. Nick Jensen and Thomas Chabot have racked up 18.6 defensive point shares, while Jake Sanderson and Tyler Kleven contribute another 13.3. Forming a defensive wall, that's hard to crack. And then there's Linus Ullmark. He's not just a goaltender, he's a fortress. A .911 save percentage, At 2.68 goals against average and 9.4 goals saved above average, this is a guy who doesn't just keep pucks out, he steals games. But the Maple Leafs are no pushover. Sitting at 39-23-3, they've been dominant on both ends of the ice. Offensively, they are a wrecking crew, averaging 3.18 goals per game. Mitch Marner and William Nylander have combined for 57 goals and 90 assists, while Austin Matthews, John Tavares, and Matthew Nice have contributed another 74 goals and 81 assists. This is not a team you want to trade goals with. Toronto's defense, equally terrifying. They allow just 2.95 goals per game, and their blue line is stacked. Chris Tanev and Oliver Ekman-Larsson have racked up 16.8 defensive point shares, while Jake McCabe and Morgan really add 14.7 to that total. And in net, Anthony Stolarz has been nothing short of spectacular, posting a 0.92 save percentage and a 2.37 goals against average with 13.3 goals saved above average. If you think this guy is just another goalie, you haven't been paying attention. So what happens when an unstoppable offense meets an immovable defense? A war on ice? The Senators are underdogs with 5 wins in a row, elite defense, and a goaltender playing out of his mind. They aren't afraid of Toronto. The Leafs want blood, this is their house, and they have the firepower to turn this game into a shootout. Physicality will define this game. This isn't just about goals, this is about who controls the ice. The team that wins the battles in the corners will win the game. Linus Ullmark is the X factor. The Maple Leafs throw pucks on net like they're handing out free samples, but Ullmark has the ability to shut the door and slam it hard. And today's AI pick is Senators moneyline 140. Toronto has the flash. Ottawa has the grit. The underdog bites back tonight on a Game 5.
The road is long, and for the Chicago Blackhawks, it's been filled with potholes. A 20-37-9 record lands them dead last in the Central Division, and every game feels like another step in a rebuild that can't come fast enough. But tonight, they march into Vancouver, ready to take on a Canucks team sitting at 30-24-11, fighting to stay in the playoff race. The Blackhawks lost their last game 4-2 against the Sharks. A close fight, but close doesn't count in the standings. The Canucks, meanwhile, edged out the Calgary Flames 4-3 in a shootout, a win that keeps their postseason hopes alive. Connor Bedard, the lone spark, the rookie sensation, leads Chicago with 17 goals and 35 assists. But beyond him, the roster is thin. Colton Dach and Jason Dickinson are trying to provide support, but the lack of depth makes every offensive possession a grind. Spencer Knight, the only hope. Don't let Chicago's record fool you. Knight is the real deal. A 2.38 goals against average and a 0.911 save percentage put him among the league's top goalies. He's kept the Blackhawks in games they had no business being in, allowing 3 or fewer goals in all 4 starts with Chicago. Canucks need their firepower back. Vancouver should be dangerous, but injuries have slowed them down. Quinn Hughes 14 goals, 4-7 assists, and Elias Pettersson 14 goals, 25 assists are banged up, and the offense has suffered. The Canucks are averaging just 2.71 goals per game, well below their potential. Kevin Lankinen holding it down. The Canucks goaltender is 23-17-7 with a 0.904 save percentage, doing just enough to keep them competitive. He hasn't allowed more than 3 goals in his last 5 starts. So what's the play? Chicago is a team that keeps it close, but Vancouver is the team that knows how to win. And today's AI pick is Blackhawks 1.5128. Chicago's not winning this game outright, but with Spencer Knight standing on his head, they'll keep it tight. Final recap: Vegas Golden Knights versus Buffalo. Sabres Golden Knights moneyline. New Jersey Devils versus Pittsburgh Penguins over 5.5 goals. New York Rangers versus Columbus Blue Jackets Blue. Jackets moneyline. Ottawa Senators versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Senators moneyline. Chicago Blackhawks versus Vancouver Canucks. Blackhawks 1.5. That's a wrap. 5 picks, 5 battles, and the edge you need to take on the sportsbook. Until next time, stay sharp.